Good day, everyone. So, we are the group 2, and our topic for today's discussion is about financial planning and budgeting. So, let us first define or elaborate what is financial planning. So, when we say financial planning, we try to analyze the investment and financing alternatives available to a firm. So, with all the projects that we have or that the firm has in their mind or sa atong mind, from the word financing alternatives, how they do finance. So, through debts ba, through loans, through issuance of stocks, or gikan ba retained earnings. So, with all those things, the investment opportunities and financing alternatives, after that, they will come up this forecasting the future consequences available to a firm. So, ari na masud ang tanang pros and cons sa investment ug tanang pros and cons sa financing alternative sources of funds. Ang mahitabo diri is they are going to wait which alternative ang dapat nilang i-choose. And then, deciding which alternative to undertake. So, mag-decide na ka what alternative or which alternative nga i-choose for you kay mas better. And then, measuring subsequent performance against established goals. So, kani measuring subsequent performance is imong i-compare ang duha nimo ka plan. For example, ang imong plan, ang actual plan nimo is the plan B and your old plan is the plan A. Imong i-compare ang actual plan versus katong imong na plan before. So kung feel nimo mas better pa ang plan B, which is your actual plan, so ang actual plan imong pilion. So in short, ang financial planning, it is a step-by-step process to meet one's life goals. So let's proceed to the dimension of financial planning. So we have two categories here, which is the short-term plan and the long-term plan. So when we say the short-term plan, it focuses on the immediate or the near future objectives. Like kanang your goal, ang goal nimo is ma-achieve nimo siya within less than a year. Let's say for example, nag-save ka og money kay you want to purchase a mini donut machine for your business, for your business. Kay magtukod kag business within the next day or the next week, in the next week. So, matawag na nimo siya short-term plan kay your goal kay na-achieve nimo siya less than a year. So, another one is the long-term plan. So, when we say long-term plan, opposite po siya sa short-term plan. Kung ang short-term plan nimo is your goal na ma-achieve nimo siya within less than a year, ang long-term plan po is your goal is ma-achieve nimo siya more than 1 year. Let's say for example, planning for retirement by investing retirement fund over the next 30 years. So, katong imong gi-invest, maklaim ra to nimo siya over the next 30 years. Kay ang long-term plan good kay mura kag kanang nagtan-aw kas imong future ba, like ang long-term plan kay maka-provide na to og big picture for our future or kanang han-ay na imong future. Ikaw karon like pagkakaron nag-work ka karon, so at the end like ni-retire na ka, tiguwang na ka, even though tiguwang na ka, still maka-earn gyapon ka through your investment, through your retirement funds nga gi-invest. Another example here is that as a college student, so ni-invest ta, nag-enroll ta og college, ni-enroll ta. Kaya nga naman, natay goal nga mo graduate. And after that, if makagraduate na ta, makaget na ta og nindot ka mga trabaho in the near future. So, ang financial planning, it is a concrete roadmap or document that outlines specific action and goals derived from that process. So, unsam day kalahian sa financial planning o financial plan. So, ang financial planning, it is a overall process or a step-by-step process of organizing to meet one's life goals, while ang financial planning, it is a concrete roadmap or document that outlines specific action or goals from that process. So, ang financial plan is makahelp ni siya nato to manage our finances effectively and kanang achieve our financing objectives. So, that's all. Thank you. Next reporter will be Miss Trisha Lausa.
Hello everyone, I am Trisha Lausa and today I will be discussing the two approaches to financial planning. So the first approach is the zero-based approach. So zero means the budget baseline is zero. The previous year budget is irrelevant in allocating financial resources for the current year. So the word zero-based approach or the zero-based budgeting, it has a current priorities, needs, strategic allocation of resources, and it is an ongoing monitoring. Also, there's more dynamic budgeting approaches because it starts from the scratch in the zero, and every expense must be justified for each new budgeting period. And this approach encourages a more thorough examination of the expense, promoting efficiency and strategic alignment. Also, this kind of approach is more time consuming than incremental approach. And also it is very useful also because it have a focus on efficiency or the quality and effectiveness of the process. Also it have a allocation based on needs, and it justify more in every expense. There are lots there are lots of advantages of zero-based approach and also the disadvantages of it. So let us start with the advantages of zero-based approach. So the first one is it's more revenue generating opportunities. Two, zero-based offers a numbers of advantages, including lower cost, budget flexibility, and strategic execution. And the third one, when every expense is carefully scrutinize, the highest revenue generating activities are prioritized. Fourth, expense are often reduced because zero-based approach helps to prevent the misallocation of resources that happens when the budget grows incrementally over time. Also, it justifies every expense and it resource allocation based on needs, and it has focus on the quality, efficiency, and effectiveness of their process. And next one is the disadvantages of zero-based approach, where the first one is it requires a lot of documentation. Yes. Two is zero-based budgeting or its execution that normally takes a long period of time. Three, it costs that it's too expensive to justify on a yearly basis. It may not be suitable for all types of organization or every budgeting cycle. The decision to implement zero-based approach should be based on the specific needs and goals of the organization. So, incremental based approach or the second one approach of the to the financial planning. So, is the traditional approach in budgeting. The budget start with the previous year budget, and then amounts is added or subtracted according to the anticipated needs. This type of approach or an increment is always subject to justification. So, this kind of approach accepting additional businesses. It had from the word incremental, it's gradual, phased, gradational, or a step-by-step process. And it's most likely to use because it's not time-consuming, just like the zero-based approach. And also, it's a quick and simplest way for updating a process, and it lies a existing of previous budget. That's why it's a quick and a simplest way for updating. And it is actual or unequal performance can be used to make only a few assumptions about the future spending and revenue. Also, it works well for the companies with stable cost and revenue. There are some of key features about this approach. So the first one is the historical reference, incremental changes, efficiency and simplicity. From the word efficiency, it is the productiveness. And the fourth one is limited strategic evaluation. Fifth is the less flexibility. So this kind of approach is a traditional budgeting where lots of the company or organization use it. So I have an example. Employee salary that grow year by year as a part of standard raises. Taking last year salary as a baseline and adding a small incremental percentage every year is perhaps the most common example. So it's like there have a the past salaries of that employee may increase may increase and have a percent to have. It's like a adding a salaries and make it raise to be the employee much more productive to work. Also, there are advantages and disadvantages of incremental based approach, just like the zero based approach. So the first advantages of incremental based approach is simplicity, two, consistency and operational stability, three, funding stability, four, reduce internal rivalry. So from the word simplicity, it is the simplest way to process a step by step for the budgeting. So next one is the disadvantages of the incremental based approach. So the first is promote unnecessary spending, two, discourages innovation, three, fails to account for changes and external factors, fourth is lack of incentive for comprehensive review. So the disadvantages is promote unnecessary spending. So it lies that you spend more than the budgeted money, just like that, and discourage innovation. There are the discourages or the failures of its process. So let's move on. The objectives of financial planning. So financial planning serves certain purposes. There are as follows. So there are three objectives of financial planning. So the first is planning, second is coordination, third is control. So let's start with planning. So financial planning helps the firms determine its objectives and courses of action. So it is also a process of setting specific financial goals, determine the step necessary to achieve the goals, and the developing activities, decision, and strategies. Also, it is important to help managers improve their decision making skills. And this kind of objectives is very important in the organization or in the business to build and to know the action. So the second one is the coordination. Financial planning creates a harmonious relationship among the different units of the organization. Also, a process of harmonizing and aligning various financial decisions and strategies. Also, it paves the path of correct direction in order on which every department works. So this coordination is like a allocation or arrangement or distribution of action or in a process or in a planning, and this kind of organization may help to have a correct direction or the correct pathway of the business. So the third one is the control. A financial plan becomes an important tool to enhancing and measuring the performance of the company. So the control is an ongoing process of monitoring, assessing, and adjusting financial activities and strategies. It's like a process where you need to plan the future or you need to monitor what will be the future is, and also it ensures that execution of those items is done optimally both in terms of cost, savings, and efficiency. From the word execution, it is a implementation or accomplishment of the work or in the process. So from the word control, you can control how to how to enhance your performance, how to make your company good, how to make your decision, or how to control everything in the organization or in the business. So, in summary, planning, coordination, and control and financial management work tandem to ensure that financial resources are strategically planned, efficiently utilized, and effectively monitored to achieve organizational objectives. So these elements collectively contribute to the financial health and sustainability of an organization. So don't forget the three objectives of financial planning: the planning, coordination, and the control. It is more important. More important in the organization or in the business to have a good path.
So I am going to report about the budgeting. So budget is the amount of money or resources earmarked for particular institutions, activity, or time frame. So it means kanang sum of money nga allocated for kanang particular purposes. Naka-allocate na siya ang kung pila ang estimate nga amount nga you are going to spend over a certain period of time. Kanang na naka-specific amount ka para ani nga butang. Like for example, if a business plan to spend 50,000 for a kanang office supply. So, kanang worth nga 50,000 kay it means that's the budget na nila kanang 50,000. Next is the budgeting. So, budgeting is the act of preparing budget. So, ang budgeting ari na nimo nga make a plan or a detailed plan for your money kung saan nimo pag budget. Like for example, kita mga estudyante, di ba kayo need magita mag-budget para masaigo ang ato ang bound. So, imo na lang ihan ay imong kwarta, food, kaning amount para ni sa transportation. Para bitaw dili mo overspending. That's the purpose of budgeting. Para dili mo overspending, dili mo maka utang-utang sa iyong classmate. Kanang purpose nga plan nimo ug ma-allocate nimo imong money for different purposes. So, why do we have to budget? Unsa may purpose nganong mag-budget man? So, first reason is budgeting gives you a self-awareness. Budgeting makes you aware of how you're spending your own money or unsa ani mo pag-control ang imong finances choices. Second is kana reduce overspending. So, if you know how to budget lang sa imong kwarta, ma-reduce nimo ang overspending. Dili ka lapas sa imong budget. Dili mas dako imong expense kaysa sa imong budget. So, number 3 is keep yourself out of debt. So, kung kibaw lang ka mo budget, malayo gid ka sa utang. So, 4 is peace of mind. So, ang budgeting daw kay makagive na nato og peace of mind by helping us to control your money, plan for expenses, and ma-avoid na to ang financial stress. 5 kay easier to decrease expense. So if you know how to budget, ma-reduce gid mo ang expenses by helping you to identify kung asa ka mo spend less and manage your money efficiently for us to able to save money. And last reason is that achieve your financial goals. Okay ba lang ka mo set plan how to save money or mo spend wisely, ma-achieve gyud nato ang financial goals. So let's move on to the next line. Master budget. It is a combined budgets of the different units of the organization according to Mihurada 2000. So kaning master budget kay overall plan ni siya of entire organization or sa company regarding sa sales, expense, and other transaction. So, i-combine nila tanan budget. So, there are two major components of master budget. First, operating budget. Second is financial budget. So, operating budget, this budget shows the plan of operations where the details of sales, production, and expenses are laid out. So, from the word pa lang operating, so siya ang ga-operate sa daily expenses of the business. It covers like how much money you spend on salaries, materials, and other expenses, or how much money you expect to make from sales. Sama rin na siya sa monthly household budget, but for a company. The second one is the financial budget. So the financial budget shows the budgeted financial resources of the firm prepared right after the operating budget. So ang financial budget kay siya ang provide an overview of the broader financial picture. Kanang ga-plan siya for bigger financial decision. It includes operating budget but ga-look po siya for the long-term finances of a business. It includes like saving for big goals like buying new equipment. Estimate siya for cash inflow and outflows for a business. And making sure nga the company has enough money for the long term. Ang operating budget kay ga includes na siya og 8 components. First, sales budget. Second, production budget. Third, direct material budget. Fourth, direct labor budget. Fifth, factory overhead budget. Sixth, ending inventory budget. 7, selling and administrative expense budget. And 8 is pro forma income statement. So, kana siya nga budget kay it will discuss by my core reporters. So, in the next slide kay ang financial budget kay consist po na siya og 2 components. First, cash budget. Second, kay pro forma balance sheet. So, it will discuss gihapon na siya sa ako ang core reporter. So, there are 11 basic steps in preparing budget. First, firm sale, production volume, material cost, material purchase, direct labor cost, factory overhead, cost of goods sold, selling and administrative expenses, cash budget, pro forma income statement, and pro forma balance sheet. So, murag na-mix na diha ang operating budget o financial budget. So, unsa may purpose aning basic steps in preparing budget. So, the purpose of these basic steps in preparing budget for a business is to effectively manage finances, make informed decision, and plan for the future. It's also about ensuring that the company's financial health remains stable and sustainable. Take note lang kanang in preparing the budget kay dapat walay ma-leave out ani ibasay usa kay kung naaman gani na possible nga ma-error ang pagplani mo sa budget.
Good day, I am Laika and I'm currently assigned to report 2 topics which are sales forecast and sales budget. First, let me discuss the sales forecast. Sales forecast stated here as a process of estimating the volume of sales. Much more to say, it's about estimating the future revenue by predicting how much the product or a service will sell for the next week or in a month or in the year. It involves analyzing the past sales data or record to identify the trends or patterns that can help to predict the future sales performance. Also, it states that it serves as the mother of all budget. So, sales forecasting is considered as is the starting point to budgeting, for the reason that it has a direct impact to all business transactions. For example, in finance department, we all know in finance department, they handle the funds, the resources of the business. And the finance department uses the forecast to decide how to make the annual or the quarterly investment. They use it to determine if the new project they will pursue or the new investment they pursue will be profitable, or the new project is they pursue will be advantageous ba sa business, helpful ba sa business, na by growth for the business. And also, accurate sales forecast keep a business healthy daw. So, accurate sales forecasting man daw can help anticipate the future demands and to identify the potential risks and challenges because of the new relevant information they will give to help us establish the budgeting, to how to allocate the resources effectively. So much to therefore accurate sales forecast can help businesses to make informed decisions and improve the overall financial performance of the business. There are types of sales forecasting. So first is a short-term sales forecasting. It covers 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year the most preferred. So muna siya gitawag relatively short period ra jud siya sa time. Muna short-term sales forecasting. While the second is a long-term sales forecasting. So it covers 5 years, 10 years, and even 20 years. So it has a considerable period of time. So muna siya ikatong 2 types of sales forecasting. So there are several types of methods of sales forecasting. However, I will only give 3 examples. So first is the sales force opinion. So this is a method where kanang the salespersons, salespeople are the ones responsible in making the sales forecast because they take advantage of their knowledge na about sa customers because they have the direct contact sa customers, so they will know kanang what kanang the preferences sa customers. Second, the historical method. So as the name suggests, no, this method kanang use ni siyang past sales records na to come up with the sales forecast. So it is the most simplest and the quickest form to sales forecast, no, because kanang i-match nimo ang katong past na sales forecast to the current or karon na kanang forecast. Third is the consumer's buying plan. So this is when information are gathered directly from the customers by conducting a survey. So ang survey kay magtell ni siya if what are the patterns sa customers, what are their preferences, and what are they kanang buying plan nila. So mo ni siya ang sa methods of sales of forecasting. How to accurately forecast sales daw. To create an accurate sales forecast, follow these 5 steps. So first, to assess historical trends. So examine the sales from previous week or the month or the year. So involves siya examining the patterns, the changes, and the developments occur over a period of the time. So you will need to examine the past sales records, the relevant data, the information about the products or the services to ensure na maka-accurate mag-sales forecast mo. Second is to incorporate changes. Incorporate changes means to update or adjust your previously estimated or predictions nimo sa sales forecast based on new information you have gathered based na katong assess nimo historical trends, diba? And also the kanang market trends or the market dynamics and also the current situation, the circumstances of the business environment. Third is to anticipate market trends. Anticipate market trends means involves ni siya to analyze the consumers shifts in their behavior, the market dynamics, and also the economic development. And also, by anticipating manggod sa market trends, no, a business will able to adjust their sales forecast and also maka-optimize ka sa imong strategies to mitigate the risk you will encounter if ever na naay mga circumstances na maka-low sa inyong sales revenue. Fourth is to monitor competitors. So, this is crucial. And by monitoring your competitors, no, anyong business maka-stay competitive and also makabaw ka sa areas which is need nimong development because you will kanang maka-differentiate man ka what your kanang your strength and weaknesses against your competitors. Fifth is include business plans. Include business plans means kanang aligning the sales goals with overall business objectives is essential man, no. So maka-create ka ani og cohesive strategy that aligns with the sales efforts nimo that overall vision and goals sa imong business, ensuring na naka-effective approach to achieve the sustainable growth. So next slide daw is benefits and importance of sales forecasting. So first daw ang benefits niya is planning and resource allocation. So sales forecasting man god will help you kanang make kanang informed decision about your future resource allocation. So by anticipating man nimo sa imong sales volumes, you can plan your operation effectively, ensuring na you can meet the demand future consumer demand nimo. Second is the risk management. So forecasting man god enables your business no to anticipate the kanang potential risks and challenges. Third is setting the realistic goals, and fourth is marketing and sales strategy. Marketing and sales strategy gani kan ang sales forecasting man god helps you to identify your market opportunities, mga target specific nimo na customer, and help plan where you allocate the resources to make the marketing and lead generation, no. Fifth, the performance and the evaluation and accountability. So kani mga sales forecast man god mag-serve man ni siya as benchmarks, no, for kanang mag-evaluate ka sa imong sales team na performance and holding those individuals accountable for their kanang targets. So here we are, my second topic, which is the sales budget. So sales budget daw is an itemized plan that predicts your total expected sales revenue by considering the number of the units you anticipate selling and the price you intend to sell them at. So in simple words, no, ang kanimong sales budgeting ay more on outline siya that expected sales revenue nimo a business aims to achieve kanang during the specific period. No, it more like a formalized plan of a specific targets and with the financial goals na for sales, ang sales budgeting. on objectives and importance of sales budget. So first, the objectives and importance are the sales budgets are crucial for the managing expenses. It also as well as setting the sales goals and also helps businesses have an idea about how much sales to expect over a kanang particular period. What elements should a sales budget include? So, nasa 3 elements, which is the first, income statement, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. In income statement, contains na siya the net income of the company and gives the general financial overview of how the business is doing. Second, the balance sheet kani is lists a company's liabilities, assets, and equity for a given budgeting period. While the cash flow statement reports ni siya cash received and cash spent for a certain budgeting period. So, in order to create a sales budget, we start at the most basic calculation, which is sales units times selling price equals the sales revenue. So, muna ni siya formula for the sales budget.
So the next step after creating the sales budget is planning the production budget. But before of that, let's tackle first the keywords. So what is production? When we say the production, it is the process of making or producing goods from raw materials or components. So in simple term, it is the act of producing, creating, and manufacture. So when we say production, naani sila yung mga specific nga product nga ipagawas. And it involves the input and the output. When we say input, mao ni siya ang mga raw materials nga gamiton to produce the product. And when we say output, mao ni siya ang finished product gikan ato nga mga raw materials. Naay daghang klase sa production. Example, production sa food. One example is Mondinisen Corporation. So ang ilang ipagawas nga product or ilang iproduce nga product is mga Lucky Me, Canton, eggnog, breadsticks, og uban pa. Naasay production sa brewery. When we say brewery, mao ni siya ang mga beer. One example ana is San Miguel Corporation. Then naasay production sa mga pisa sa cellphone. One example ana is ang Mitsumi. Naasay production sa haplas, mga sabon. One example ana is IPI. Then if naay production, so mo nang naay ma-consume ang mga consumers. So without production, businesses cannot be able to meet consumers' demand. Why? It because kung walay production, walay ma-consume ang mga consumer. Even kita ninyo usata sa consumer ana ilang mga product. So if wala na ang product, if walay production nga mahitabo, wala tay magamit in everyday life. Next is budget. So when we say budget, kabaw naman kita taon sa ning budget in general lang. Even kita as a student na atay gitawag og budget. For example, nga ang atong budget 1K, allowance na to is 1K nga dapat maabot na siya from Monday to Friday. So i-plan na sa nimo or imo i-control kung unsaon na nga ang imuhang allowance is maabot from Monday to Friday. So same ra na siya sa business. But sa business lang is mas crucial siya because diha nakasalalay or naka-base ang ilang pag-up or pag-down. And it involves sa ilahang income and expenses. When we say income and expenses, nga dapat mas dako ang ilang income or na-earn nga money sa company or ilahang asset kontra sa ilang mga expenses. Why? Because if dako ang ilang expenses kontra sa ilang income, possible ang company mo go down or mas worse, mabankrupt ang company. So mao nang dapat ang pag-budget sa company is crucial and dapat naka-plan or naka-control ang money. Next is production budget. When we say production budget, it is a financial plan that outlines the anticipated costs and expenses associated with producing goods or services. So when we say production budget, it is a plan or set kung pila ka units of product ang i-produce sa company to meet sales goals o sa demand sa mga consumers. For example, ang company nag-aim sila mo sell sila og 50,000 ka smartphones. So nya ang ilahang naa nila stock is 10,000 ra. So unsaon man to nila pag meet ang 50,000 nga smartphones. So diri mo sud ang production budget. Diri na mahitabo ang production budget. So mao nang ang company mo decide or mo plan sila nga mo additional sila 40 units of smartphones. So mao tong nahitabo ang production didto kung pila ka buok units of product ang i-produce sa company. So mao tong ni-produce ang company or nag-additional sila 40,000 para ma-meet to ang 50,000 nga demand. A typical production budget includes first, cost of production. So if naay production, na gini mga cost ana as a whole. For example, in producing the product. So ang mga cost ana kay kanang mga materials nga pag-purchase ana or pag-order sa company, mga labor o mga factory overhead, and any direct or indirect nga mga materials. When we say direct, mao ni siya ang mga direct labor, direct materials o mga manufacturing expenses. And when we say indirect, mao ni siya ang mga rent, utilities, and general nga expenses sa office. Next is inventory consideration. So when we say inventory consideration, from the word itself, inventory, mao ni siya ang mga stock of products on hand nga wala pa siya na sold but ready to sell na to siya. For example, ang clothing company, naa pa sila yung mga product on hand. Then, wala pa to siya na sold or wala pa napalit sa mga customer. So, mao to siya considered as ending inventory. Mawala lang to siya sa ending inventory kung kato siya nga mga product is ma-sell na or mapalit na sa mga customer. Next is production schedule. So, if naay production, naagid na schedule, ana. And it question kung asa buhaton ang production o kanusa buhaton ang production. For example, asa buhaton ang production sa EBC company. Then kanusa nila buhaton ang production. So for example, ang schedule sa pagbuhat sa ilang production is Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday. Depende na siya kung kanusa nila buhaton ang production o depende siya kung kusog ang ilang product nga gipagawas everyday. When we say quality control and assurance, dapat ang company nag-inspecting and testing ug assure na sa company nga ang ilang product nga i-produce is makamit sa specific standard and requirements. And dapat i-assure na sa company nga ang ilang product nga ipagawas is makamit sa expectation sa mga consumers ug dili makaharm sa mga consumers. Next is raw materials. When we say raw materials, it is components that are not used in the manufacturing process of product. So, when we say mga materials, from the word itself, materials, mao ni siya ang mga materials nga gamiton to produce the product in simple terms. For example, ang company mohimo og smartphone. So, unsa may mga materials nga gamiton to make or to produce the smartphone. For example, integrated circuits, camera modules, screen, and mga chips ang nagagmay nga naa sa smartphone. So, mao to siya yung mga raw materials. Next is direct materials budget. When we say direct materials budget, it calculates the materials that meet be purchased by time period. So, in simple terms, mao ni siya ang, or it explain the quantity and the cost. When we say quantity and the cost or expenses, dapat siguraduon sa company kung pila ka buok or itali sa company kung pila ka buok nga mga product or kato nga mga materials ang ilang i-purchase or orderon og pila say cost ana nga product or materials. For example, ang company muhimo og orange juice bottle. So ang ilang purchaseon katong orange og ila nang itali kung pila ka buok orange ang ilahang i-purchase og pila ang cost ana nga orange. And the same kung pila ka buok bottle ang ilang i-purchase o pila sad ang cost ana nga bottle. To create a direct materials budget, you typically need the following information. First, sales forecast. When we say sales forecast, it is to predict or estimate the future. For example, ang company might forecast increase of demand during holiday season. So ang resulta ana before pa lang ang Christmas, ni ang company ni decide na og increase of demand sa production before pa lang ang Christmas. Mo na gitawag og sales forecast. Gipredict na nila daan or gi-forecast na nila daan ang mahitabo or ilang gi-estimate ang ilang revenue. Next is production budget. So kato akong gi-discuss ganiha. Need ang information gikan sa production budget para ato nga mga raw materials. Kay unsa may nganong imo-purchase kag mga raw materials kung wala ang production. Next is beginning inventory. When we say beginning inventory, mao ni siya ang mga finished product on hand at the beginning of the period. For example, ang company ni manufacture sila mga bicycle. So at the start of the year, January 1st, naa sila 100 ka buok bicycle. So, ang katong 100 kabuok nga finished product nga bicycle, mao to siya considered as beginning inventory sa company. Next is required ending inventory. When we say required ending inventory, mauni siya ang company mo decide kung pila ka raw materials ang gusto on hand sa company. Want nila on hand, pila ka buk raw materials ang gusto sa company on hand. For example, ang company nag-produce sila mga handmade furniture. So, unsa may mga raw materials anang furniture? Example anang raw materials na niya is fabric and wood. So, ang katong fabric and wood, mo to siya considered as raw materials nga gusto on hand sa company.
Hi everyone, so my name is Limariti Ates, and today I'm going to tackle two topics of budgeting. First is the direct labor budget, second is the factory overhead budget. So let's get on with the first topic, which is the direct labor budget. So, when we say direct labor budget, it refers to the cost of direct labor. So, what's direct labor? So, direct labor is those workers who are actually involved with the labor on the processing of the materials. So, these workers or employees are those people who are actually manufacturing the direct materials manually or with the aid or with the help of machines. So, they are known as direct labor or laborers or product labor because they are those individuals that have the responsibility or task or activities to process things for creation of goods or services. So, let's say for example, a carpenter. Diba sa mga carpenter is nana sila ang direct materials ana is katong wood and steel, but if ibutang na mo dira tanan nya dili man ang mukalit lag example katong mga woods and steel and all those the likes that are called as direct materials is mutoy himoon og balay. Then if nanatutanan mga direct materials is dili man to siya automatically if present na ang all materials is mag-evolve na siya, mahimo na siyang house. So, that's why there are people that are called direct laborers. So, sa last na reporter, which is last topic ni Marilyn Arnold is nagtakol na siya about sa direct materials. So, I will not dig deeper into it. But, ato siya. So, dili man to siya mga direct materials if kung na sila, present sila tanan, dili man ang mukalit lag evolve, mahimo siyang house, di ba? So, it needs a individual, a person, which is direct labor. So, that's why they're called direct labor or direct laborers because they are the one who are actually involved with the process or the making of the product or services. Or sa akong example is ang house. So, next, meaning is that direct labor is the cost of salaries and wages. So, kinsa man ning salaries and wages? Of course, from the topic itself, from the name of the topic itself, direct labor budget. So, these salaries and wages are for those direct labor or direct laborers. So, let's say na kaning kay di ba? This direct labor budget is just going around for direct laborers. This budget is solely for the direct laborers who actually katong mag-process sa direct material. So, gets ba guys? So, next is direct labor budget is a financial plan that estimates cost. So, ang kaning direct labor budget is financial plan sa siya that estimates cost. So, when we say financial plan, but then you forgot, but Karen in the first I think first 3 slides is na-report na sa dinia pero financial plan is the document of short-term, meaning less than a year, and long-term financial goals. Long-term is more than a year, and it includes strategy to achieve them. So, yes. I hope nakasabot mo guys kung unsa about ang direct labor budget. So, solely rin siya direct labor. Patong mga kanang trabahante who are involved sila sa paghimo sa product or services or goods. Sila ang directly involved sa pag-manufacture sa mga direct materials. So, direct labor. So my second and my last topic is all about the factory overhead budget. So before we define what is factory overhead budget, so for everyone na dali ra maka-understand what is this budget all about. So ang synonyms di ay sa overhead is running cost, opportunity cost, cost, and expenses. So let's just put it as factory expenses budget. So this factory overhead budget is all about the expenses of the factory. So first is, let's define factory overhead. So factory overhead are the costs attributed in the production process. So when we say attributed, so factory overhead kuno, as what I have said earlier, is these are the attributed expenses for the production process. So, mga cost sa pagbuhat sa product, like process. So, it provides, so factory overhead budget provides schedules for indirect materials, indirect labor, and all other manufacturing costs. So, first is, let's define indirect material. Excuse me. So, indirect material refers to the needed materials for completion of a product. So, examples are glue, varnish, paint, nails, threads, and helmets. So, magkuha tag usa ka example. Example, helmet. So, why is helmet considered an indirect material? So, as what the previous reporter said or tackled, bagita ako lang ni Marilyn Arnold, direct materials. And those are the materials which are part jud siya sa paghimo sa product. Like, apil gid siya dito sa i-assemble. So, nganong ang helmet is considered man siya na indirect material? It is because, example, di ba ang direct materials are those needed sa pagbuhat sa, are those needed na materials sa pagbuhat sa usa ka product or goods or services. So, ang helmet is dili ba siya need, pero indirect material siya because involved siya sa paghimo, pero dili siya part sa katong materials na gi-build. So, let's say for example, kining helmet lagi sa kanang mga carpenters, di ba? O maghimo silang house is mag-helmet man sila. Yeah, magpukpuk-pukpuk din sila and everything. Like, ila to i-assemble ang balay. So, muna siya example. Like, ang helmet is isulob siya pero dili bitaw siya katong kanang log, dili siya katong kahoy, dili siya katong steel na kanang are the materials that are directly involved sa pagbuhat sa ka product, which is, as my example, is the house. So, gets ra ba, guys? So, next is the indirect labor. So, indirect labor refers to the expense which doesn't affect the finished product. So, example are the shop clerks, general helpers, and cleaners. So, diri sad, isa na kayo siya, guys. Comprehension lang dyan. So, diri, for example, kining cleaners. So, sa factory, example, Virginia, di ba? Kung man na, Virginia hotdog. So, those indirect labor, katong cleaner, example, janitor, ay janitress or janitor. So, inighuman sa katong mga direct laborers o trabaho sa katong hotdog baron is manglimpyo na ang mga janitor or janitress. They are called indirect labor because, or indirect laborers because they are not, diba, ang meaning sa direct labor are those people who are actually involved. Sila mo'y mag-assemble or maghimo sa katong product or goods. But this indirect laborers, they are not involved but they are also there. So, katong janitor, janitress is tig-clean na sila pero dili sila tighimo. Dili sila directly involved sa pag-process or pag-manufacture sa hot dogs. Gets ba? So, yun na siya, guys. So, the next and the last one is the manufacturing cost. So, these are the costs incurred during production of products. So, for example, indirect labor, indirect materials, direct materials, and direct labor. So, na tackle naman ta na. So, dili nita mag-dig deeper. Let's proceed to the next slide, which is the two kinds of cost. So, sa factory overhead budget has two kinds of cost. So, these are the variable cost and the fixed cost. So, in doing the factory overhead budget, variable cost and fixed cost should be separated. So, let's define both of them. So, first is the variable cost. So, variable cost is a cost that varies in proportion to how much a company produces or sells. So, ang variable cost is, ang main point ani niya is, if a company mo increase sila og kanang, di ba? Mo increase sila og pag-produce of goods or maninda sila. Kay ang katong this cost is mutaas pud siya. Nya ini mo decrease pud to is mo decrease pud siya. So variable cost is dili siya magliuk-liuk bitaw siya, unstable siya na cost. So example kaning nasa ubos raw materials. So if ang company is daghan siyang order, they need siyang mag-produce og daghan pod. So ang raw materials is daghan pod ilang paliton. So muna mo taas ilang raw materials na expenses. Next is hourly wages. So kung taas ang demand sa product is kailangan ang katong mga direct laborers or mga employees is or mga indirect laborers pod is mo OT sila or overtime. Kay daghan mag-process, daghan mag-need a pason na timeline and kini shipping. So kung daghan mo nag-order, daghan mo matinda, dili daghan sa mo ipa-ship. So motaasad inyong shipping fee, di ba? Gets ra? So variable cost is the cost that rises as you make more. So the higher you make more, the higher the cost is. So next is the fixed cost. So it is a cost that does not change with increase or decrease in number of goods and services. So let's say for example, basta ang fixed cost from the word itself, fix, dili na siya, wala na siya, dili bitaw siya, di siya mulhiyok as your company. Example, company produces more or sells more or kana the other way around, less. So ang company is, I have said, the company's cost is dili na siya mulihok, ana ra na siya. Kung dira na siya, ara na siya. So kana example is rent. So if di ba rent sa kanang factory baron na building na inyong gihimuan, so kung daghan imong need i-produce kay nitaas ang demand niya, daghan kag need i-sell, or the other way around is ang rent dili mo dyan na siya mulihok kay kuan naman na siya, fix naman ang rent. And next example is insurance, and then equipment, as well as equipment, and then the admin pay is ana ra gyud na siya, stable ra gyud na siya kay not included man na siya, unlike sa variable cost na raw materials and then katong shipping na mo move sa gid siya with the demand of the product. While fixed cost is stay rigid siya as it is stable, very stable. So the word itself galit fixed. So fixed cost, fixed expense, dili na siya mulihok. So fixed cost stay the same. Bahalag mo gamay na imong sales, mo gamay imong kanong production, mo gamay imong demand, stay the same rin na siya na mga expenses. Mo siyang fixed cost. So I hope you guys learned something from my two budgeting topics, which is the direct labor budget and the factory overhead budget. Bye!
Good day everyone, my name is Archavi Baradas and I'll be discussing about end-to-end inventory budget and selling and administrative expense budget. So, end-to-end inventory budget is a plan or projection that estimates the expected value or a quantity of goods remain in an inventory at the specific period. So ending inventory budget ay is buhatan every end of the month. Ending inventory budget ay is to provide estimate value sa company to maintain the optimal inventory level or control cost and make informed decision about production and sales para dili bitaw like para may bawaan nila if ang ilang product is not sobra or kuwang sa demand sa mga tao. Also, and the inventory calculates the cost of the finished good inventory at the end of each budget period. So, and the inventory is important to help companies align their product process with sales goals and financial target. It helps the companies to align their sales goals and financial budget. It also helps in maintaining a balance between excessive and equitative inventory level. So, kung giingon ganina, inventory budget help the company to maintain their production and sales goals in a level. Walay sobra, walay kulang. Sakto sa demand sa mga tao. There is an example how to get an inventory budget. So, the formula of the inventory budget is beginning inventory plus net purchases minus cost of goods sold. So, let's have an example calculation. So, our beginning inventory is 50,000. Our net purchase is 80,000. Cost of goods sold 60,000. So let's calculate it 50,000 plus 80,000 minus 60,000. Therefore, the projected ending inventory of December 2023 is 70,000. One example sa how to get an ending inventory budget. Let's move to selling and administrative expense budget. It comprises of the budget of all non-manufacturer departments such as sales, marketing, and accounting engineering, and facilitate departments. It is a financial plan that outlines the anticipated costs associated with selling production or services and managing the general administrative function of a business. It typically includes expenses such as salary, advertising, office supplies, utilities, and other costs related to the sales and administrative activity of the company. This budget helps organize, forecast, and control their expenditure, contributing to overall financial planning and management. In simplest terms, a selling and administrative expense budget is a plan that shows how much money a business expect to spend on selling its products or services and managing day-to-day operation. More important, it helps businesses plan for cost, control spending, and ensure that sufficient funds are allocated to the company's sales and administrative function. So overall, selling and administrative expense budget is ang mga expense sa mga company and it's important because to show the right expense of the company. I hope you understand and learn my report. That's all. Thank you.
Next, we have the cash budget. So, one of the final stages in the preparation of a budget is making the cash budget. So, what do you mean by cash budget? A cash budget is a company's estimation of cash inflows and outflows over a specific period of time. Sa ato pa, kining cash budget is ang estimate kung how much cash ang musulod, which is the cash inflows, and how much cash ang mugawas sa kumpanya, which is the cash outflows, over a specific period of time. And since we're talking about cash flows, the actual movement of money, so anything nga dili cash, anything nga dili money, will not be dealt within the cash budget. So remember that cash budget is kanang ang iyarang i-recognize is ang mga cash transactions. And also, cash budget is done on a shorter time frame than other statements. So unlike other financial statements na annually or yearly siya ginabuhat, kining cash budget is mostly done siya
month by month or in a monthly basis, and even week by week or weekly basis. So, mao na atong timan-an sa cash budget. Shorter time frame siya from other financial statements. And also, we have to remember na lahi ang cash budget and statement of cash flows. Kaya even though involved sila, they're talking about cash flows pareho, but ang kalainan is ang statement of cash flows kay nag-analyze siya sa cash transactions nga nahitabo na. So, nag-base siya sa historical data or based siya sa past. Whereas kining cash budget is kanang future-based estimation siya sa cash flows, cash inflows, and cash outflows over a specific period of time. Now, why is cash budget important? Cash budget is important to ensure that companies have enough funds within the business to operate. Number 2, it allows companies to predict possible cash shortages. Number 3, it allows companies to see large sums of excess cash. So, through making the cash budget, through the estimation of cash inflows and outflows, number 1, makita sa companies if naa pa ba sila enough funds for the business to continue to operate. For example, ay business niya, naatlan sila of peak seasons the following month. So, through cash budget, mahibawaan nila if na ba sila enough funds, na ba sila enough kwarta to continue their business operations the following month. So, dili sila mabalaka nga naay cash shortages kay makita man nila sa ilang base sa ilang estimation nga na ba sila enough funds. The same with kung makita nila nga naay cash shortages, then makatake pa sila og precautionary measures para maagapan na nga cash shortages thanks to the cash budget. Maagapan nila ang situation, mas worse nga situation kay na sila shortages. Like for example, maka-loan ba ron sila og money or ilahang adjusted ilahang expenses. So, and lastly, if makita nila through their cash budget nga na sila excess cash or na sila sobrang kwarta, then mas better for them. Kaya naan sila opportunity to invest baron in new equipments baron, invest in manpower, and na sila opportunity to pay their mga utang and loans. So, mao na ang importance sa cash budget. It allows companies nga makita if na ba sila enough funds, makita nila nga na ba sila cash shortages, and makita nila if na sila excess nga kwarta. It will help them make informed decisions para sa betterment sa ilang kumpanya. So next, we have the 4 major sections of a cash budget. Number 1 is the cash receipts section. So under cash receipts section, naadiri tanang mga cash inflows or mga cash na nisulod sa company, except sa borrowings kaysa financing section man na. So again, naadiri tanang cash na musulod sa company. For example, number 1 na is ang cash on hand. Of course, the beginning cash on hand, mga accounts receivable, mga cash income, and others. Basta, timan-an ninyo, kining cash receipts is the cash inflows. Next, we have the cash payment section. So, under the cash payment section, we have here tanang cash outflows or tanang kwarta na gigawa sa kumpanya. In short, mga expenses. So, for example, direct material purchases, direct labor, factory overhead, and others. Daghan pang mga expenses. Salingan administrative. So, cash payments is the cash outflows. Next, we have the cash surplus or deficit section. So, this section is basically the difference between cash receipts and cash payments. Kung i-minus na nimo, ang tawag ana is ang cash surplus or deficit. If positive, then it's called cash surplus. If negative, then it is cash deficit. So, as simple as that. Last, we have the financing section. As I said ganiha, kining financing section kay mga borrowings di sa company and ilahang payment to that. So, these are the four major sections of a cash budget. So here is an example of a cash budget. As you can see, nasa first is ang cash balance, the cash receipts and the cash inflows. Last, the cash payments, katong cash outflows or the expenses. And ang difference ana is called the cash surplus. And lastly is the total financing or the financing section. So here is an example of cash budget. Next, we have the budgeted income statement. Budgeted income statement is often referred to as a pro forma income statement or forecasted income statement. It is a financial statement that provides an estimate of a company's expected revenues, expenses, and profits for a specific future period. So, in short, budgeted income statement is an estimation of the company's future profits through the projection of sales and expenses. So, somewhat matawag po nato siya og kanang forecast no kay iyang estimate, iyang forecast ang future na financial performance sa company which is makita by its profits or revenues. But lahi siya sa income statement na ato ang nahibaw-an, diba na next sa balance sheet naman tayo gitawag na income statement. Lahi siya ato nga income statement. Kay kato nga income statement is mura ra siya og nag-report or nag-display sa income and expenditure sa company. Nag-base siya sa historical data or mga past pod na transaction, past performance sa company. Whereas kining budgeted income statement is again, estimation or ang forecast sa company, forecast sa future profit sa company. So, ang budgeted income statement is future-based siya while ang katong income statement is past performance sa company. So, why is budgeted income statement important? It is important because it serves as a control device in measuring the firm's performance by means of comparing the actual outcome with its budgeted figures. So, through budgeted income statement, makatabang siya sa companies to assess their financial performance, to assess their financial health sa company. Through sa pagpakita if na ba sila potential nga net income nga na-earn sa business. Kay makita mo na sa budgeted income statement sa ilang estimation. So, if makita sa companies nga na sila positive nga net income in the future based sa ilang estimation, then maka-verify sila nga sa ilang expenses, or like ma-justify nila ilang expenses nga, kining nga expense is kanang worth it ra ni siya kay naka-earn man gihapon mi og profit. And if naa ba sila plans ron to invest or other plans and makaana sila nga financially feasible pa ko to make that happen. So sort of like kanang yes, mura siya og control device sa firm para ma-assess nila ilang financial performance or financial health. And another example, if makita po nila nga negative ilang potential nga net income, then it will make them reevaluate their choices. Maka-reevaluate sila sa ilang decisions through that budgeted income statements. So that's why it serves as a control device for the firm's performance. So importante dyan siya ang budgeted income statement sa company. Here is an example of a budgeted income statement. More or less, pareha ra gid siya sa income statement. Pareha ra siya og format, but nakalahi is projected or mga estimated ra gid siya na mga figures.
Good day everyone, this is Alexa Faith Invest Culture and I will be discussing the budgeted balance sheet and the other budget. So, let's first delve into the budgeted balance sheet. So, a budgeted balance sheet is often referred to as a projected balance sheet or pro forma balance sheet. It is a financial statement that provides a snapshot of a company's financial position at a specific point in the future, typically at the end of an upcoming fiscal period. So, in this, let's consider it as our crystal ball for finances. Like, crystal ball is kana ganing gamiton sa mga manghuhula. So, let's consider budgeted balance sheet as that, wherein maghatag siya og kanang sneak peek sa unsay kapalaran sa company, like maghatag siya og sign or early indication sa future situation. Nga lang mura siya nagpredict sa financial future by making a detailed plan of how much ang gi-expect sa company to have, to owe and own by the end of an upcoming year. So through this budgeted balance sheet, sad kay kuan sa niya siya kanang nag-provide po na siya og basis sa paghimo og financial decisions. Like for example, if makatabang sila sa company to determine if kanang sakto ba ilang working capital or mag-need ba sila additional financing or dapat ba nilang i-adjust ang ilang spending plans. In this pod is that ang assets kay expected siya nga mo grow, while ang liabilities is kanang expected nila nga mutaas ang mo increase ang debts or obligations but kontrolado and a stable equity position. So next, this is an example of a budgeted balance sheet. So wherein ang assets, liabilities, o stockholders' equity kay compute to project the financial position sa business and i-assess how their financial health might change over time. As you can see po, ang companies po is they can use this to compare ang actual nga balance sheet og ang budgeted balance sheet to identify if naabay mga discrepancies o ilhang ma-assess ang ilhang financial performance. Therefore, importante jud ni siya in making financial plan because makatabang siya in making informed decision and kanang masustain ang organizational success or kanang long-term financial stability. So, next is a pro forma. Next is the other budgets. So first is the pro forma cash flow statement. So a pro forma cash flow statement, it refers to the cash flow statement prepared by the business entity to prepare the projections of the amount of cash inflow and cash outflow they expect to have in the future from the different activities including kaning operating, investing, and financing activities. So, mubalik na pud ta sa financial crystal ball. So, diri is as if na pud nga ang kaning pro forma cash flow statement is our financial crystal ball wherein maghatag siya makatabang siya to see into the future of a company's cash situation. So, diri is ma-predict na to if how much ang cash ang musud ug mogawas covering tanan gikan sa from day-to-day operations to big investments and financing moves. So, starting with the operating activities is diri is ma-estimate atong i-estimate ang cash nga na-generate nato gikan sa sales og other sources, then deduct the expenses. So it contains tanan cash inflows and outflows nga nag-result gikan sa resulting from the business main operations. Then, sa investing activities is nag-involve siya sa capital expenditures, like pang pag-buy or sell of investments or long-term assets. In case if mobay ka kag new assets kay na cash outflows, then in the case of kanang sales or receiving returns from investments na cash inflows. Well, sa financing activities po is kanang nag-consider siya loans and equity. So, like mag-borrow or kanang paying or receiving dividends. So, here's an example of pro forma cash flow statement. So, in this, atong gamiton ang previous nga balance sheet, ang budgeted balance sheet o ang pro forma income statement to derive in this statement. So, as you can see is through this is we can help sa business nga i-estimate if pila ang ilang expected nga ma-earn, ma-spend over that specified future period. So, dapat jud nga accurate dapat jud nga mag-base ka sa reliable information para accurate imong projections kay through these projections man is we can use this to identify if naabay potential cash shortfalls. So cash shortfalls is that wala kay enough nga cash on hand to cover to cover your short-term financial obligations. So, financial obligations like kanang paying bills. So, it is really important that accurate ang imuhang pag-project sa cash flow statement kay if you cash flow statement kay if you already identify the potential shortfalls, then you can plan the strategies to address that issue effectively. So in this case, it can really help in setting budgets.
So, next is the budgeted financial ratios. So, let us first define the financial ratios. So, financial ratios are the quantitative metrics used to assess and analyze various aspects of a company's financial performance. So, and these ratios is they are used to in analyzing, evaluating the company's financial performance. So makatabang siya in making informed decisions about sa health sa company financially. So the common nga gamiton nga financial ratios is the profitability ratios, katong efficiency ratios, leverage ratios, liquidity ratios. So budgeted financial ratios. So, the budgeted financial ratios are the projected or forecasted ratios based on a company's budgeted financial statements. So, budgeted financial ratios they are an essential aspect of the financial analysis. So, makatabang po ni siya to plan and project the company's financial performance. So, nag-help man siya sa company nga mag-set sila og specific financial targets in which ilahang i-align ilahang operations or strategies nga ma-achieve to nila nga target. So more ni siya og guide in setting goals and financial planning. So this is an example of a budgeted financial ratios. As you can see, nigamit sila sa current ratio. So as for the example kaning sa current ratio, so makita nato as of December 31, 2009 kina sila 4.29, then sa budgeted na ratio is 4.75 for 2010. So in this kanang ma-compare through this is ma-compare nato ang ratios if ang budgeted ratios ag ang actual ratios to assess if how well they are performing against their financial goals. So kani nga financial ratios is more ni siya og tools nga nagtabang that helps us to see how healthy the company's finances are and also to see sad if kung asa ang dapat nilang i-improve. And also through this projection is we can also identify mga potential financial issues in advance in which ma-actionan dayon siya mitigating risk. So therefore budgeted financial ratios are important as it gives us an overall picture sa financial health sa company, and through this is we can keep track on the performance sa performance sa company and make an informed decisions mitigating potential financial risk. And that's all. Thank you.